Y'all, they be killing me in these sci-fi horror books because everybody is so curious. Don't nobody know when to stop, burn to the ground, and get the out. What's good, y'all? It's your girl Lauryn Simone here with another episode of Books, Booze, and Bops, where we keep you lit and literate. And today, we're diving into a vampire story because who doesn't love vampires? I mean, the range. You got True Blood, you got Dracula, you got Twilight, you got Vampire in Brooklyn. Today, we're diving into a terrifying sci-fi blood-sucking tale, The Strain, by Guillermo del Toro and Chuck Hogan. Let's get into it. This story toggles between European folklore and present-day events. Today, I'm going to focus on the present-day events. We begin our story with a flight full of dead bodies. Yes, you heard me correctly. CDC epidemiologist Ephraim, commonly known as Eph, boards the plane with his number 2 Nora. They stumble upon a survivor, Captain Redfern, who is their only hope at figuring out what the hell happened on this plane. While unloading the dead bodies, they discover 4 survivors: a lawyer, a rock star, a husband, and the captain. Eph and Nora start discovering a whole bunch of other weird like a big cabinet of dirt in the middle of the plane, and the fact that these bodies ain't decomposing. Quote, "Bottom line is, we need these bodies at the morgue. Cut them open, figure out this thing from the inside." Not long after this strange landing, a solar eclipse covers NYC. Now, while this enamored many, this actually was a sign of an omen. The beginning of the end, if you will. Meanwhile, a whole host of other strange occurrences start popping up. Eph and Nora discover some vampire on the plane, like literal vampire. The cabinet disappeared during the eclipse, and Captain Redfern gets a disturbing recollection of a childhood memory. Quote, "The only thing I remember between our descent and waking up here is that he came back. In my dreams, I saw him again, this Mr. Leach, and he was smiling." Down at the morgue, one of the scientists discovers that all of these bodies have characteristics in common. Thin slit in their throats, sound like worms are slithering inside them, they're still generating heat, and they bleed white. Not only that, but they got like false vocal cords and all their organs are bruised. Fast forward, the only man with some sense appears. Professor Abraham Satrekian, or however you pronounce his name. He tells Eph and Nora that they need to burn them dead bodies expeditiously or some wild gonna go down. Needless to say, they ain't do that and wild stuff proceeded to go down. That's not what I said. Needless to say, they ain't do that and continued looking for answers. Y'all, they be killing me in these sci-fi horror books because everybody is so curious. Don't nobody know when to stop, burn to the ground, and get the out. Turns out the white blood is full of worm parasites, and the corpses are vampires in the making. The worm parasite is a capillary worm that essentially causes a vampire viral infection. Meanwhile, the survivors start feeling symptoms, the mildest of which are a sore throat, excessive thirst. Next thing you know, vampires start popping up left and right all over the city. And all them dead bodies from the aeroplane, gone. These f***ers done got up and walked out the morgue. Now, if you grew up like I did, you learned that the only vampire weaknesses were sunlight, silver, steak to the heart, garlic, but not these vampires. No, only decapitation and sunlight will do. Eph, Nora, and Satrekian recruit a local exterminator to join their vampire brigade. Turns out, the exterminator gives them the key to success. Quote, "I can tell you that from a pest control point of view, poisoning and trapping are short-term solutions that won't work in the long run. Control is what works. managing their habitat, disrupting their ecosystem, removing the food supply and starving them out. Then, you get to the root of the infestation and wipe it clean. The only solution? Go after head honcho himself, the master. If Nora and Satrekian finally get close enough to do some damage, if swinging this silver sword around, repeatedly cutting the master, driving him onto the roof during the middle of the day. So you would think that this would kill the vampire, right? Wrong. Somehow, this f***er scales down the side of the building in broad daylight and escapes. Meanwhile, the rest of the vampire masters done met up in Pennsylvania to entertain the idea of a vampire war. The end? Psych, nah. This book is the first in a trilogy. Eve, Nora, and the rest of the gang are back with more thrilling adventures in the sequels, The Fall and The Night Eternal. I hope you enjoyed this tipsy recount of The Strain by Guillermo del Toro and Chuck Hogan. I spared you a lot of gruesome details on this one, and if you have a weak stomach, I wouldn't suggest reading this book. I even had to take breaks. Not gonna hold you.
No, she wasn't ready.
No, I really wasn't. If you're interested, The Strain is also a series on FX, so feel free to add it to your spooky faves. This has been Books, Booze, and Bops, and don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and stream the Strain playlist. Y'all already know what it is. Stay lit, stay literate, and we'll catch y'all in the next one. Bye. When did he get a megaphone?
I don't know.
Is it a block party?
I don't want it to be. I really don't.
I don't want it to be.
I don't want it to be.
Okay.
It could be anything. Mm-hmm.